Sophie Rain grew up attending church every Sunday with her family. She says she grew up poor. Her family struggled throughout her childhood and often got by on food stamps. And her parents are also devout Christians. They must be so proud. She says, actually, they came around to support what she was doing. Honey, no, they're twisted inside. They are twisted. She says her Christianity remains a substantial part of her identity. She says she still checks in on her home church in Tampa when they stream online services. Looking at her life now, she doesn't see any conflict. No conflict at all between her work creating adult entertainment and her religious devotion. I love that. This is my favorite quote. You ready? The Lord is very forgiving. And he put me on here. She's saying the Lord put her on the OF. Ooh, honey. He put me on earth for a reason, and I'm just living every day. If this wasn't meant for me, I wouldn't be here right now. I love, I'm not a Bible study girl, but I did go to Catholic school for many years, 12 actually. I love how all of these girls forget the free will part. God's not putting you on the OF, honey. You have free will and you're making that decision for yourself, and you're sinning. We know it. You know it. What I find really interesting about all of these women that just either they find Jesus and then they give up the content after they've made a boatload of cash. Isn't that convenient? That's another money-making decision, because we'll talk about what conservative circles do then at that point. Or they twist it and they make it like, well, I'm doing the OF, but I'm not sleeping with everyone and I'm not getting completely naked, so I have the blessing of Jesus. I mean, this is what they do in order to rationalize doing something that they know internally is wrong, right? You know what you're doing is disgusting. You're making money just, even if you weren't completely naked, you were in thongs and little pasties and you're prancing around your apartment and shaking the goods and doing a dance, and guys are like, you know, those guys are doing some nasty stuff at home while they're watching. You know, you're talking dirty. You know what you're doing. Don't act like Jesus is praising this, or that you have the blessing of Jesus just because you're not taking all your clothes off, honey. You don't get to conveniently place, oh, I don't believe this conflicts with my religion whenever you feel like it. We're laughing at you. You know, we really are, all of us. So that's one thing. We're going to get into her Bonnie Blue fight in a second. But there's another thing that happens also in conservative circles, right? And you see, I think there was talk, I don't remember who it was that was invited to the Turning Point USA thing. I don't even remember. That's how much I give a lick. But conservatives, Fox News's, conservative companies that have clout love like an I found Jesus former Hollywood celebrity or a former Hollywood celebrity that finds conservatism, right? I remember, oh man, I'll tell a side story. I used to host a show called Outnumbered. When I first started in the business, they called me for a show called Outnumbered on Fox. It's still on. It's insufferable. But regardless, for different reasons. No disrespect to the people on it, but it's a really heinous experience. Anyway, I was on there, and Stacey Dash. Do you remember Stacey Dash from Clueless? And she wasn't doing like, the corn and stuff, but she was, a Hollywood celebrity, just found conservatism, right? Well, they hired her. Now, Outnumbered was a show where you were talking about, this was live TV. If there was a war that happened, you were covering it. It was heavy prompter reads. It was heavy foreign policy. You had to be immersed in politics. Well, she didn't know a lick about anything. And she would come to the show and she would be lost in space. And the producers would be like, what do we give her? What do we do? Couldn't read. We had to remove her from the prompter reads because she couldn't do it. No disrespect to her either. She's an actress, right? She's not supposed to be a newscaster. But because she was a convert, right? She had left the liberalism and became the conservative network. So like, we need one of those. No offense. They're star fuckers. They are. All the conservatives are, these organizations, they're star fuckers. They're like, oh my God, so same thing with the corn, right? Somebody leaves the corn, leaves the OF, and it's like, I found Jesus. I found conservatism. And they're like, can we pay you to speak? I mean, it's so laughable, honestly. So all of these girls know they have a road, right? She's keeping the road open, this one, right? She also thinks, by the way, that because she's not sleeping with these guys, that this won't haunt her, right? Sophie Rain thinks that she's going to find like a nice church-going guy, nice Catholic boy or Christian boy, and he's going to be like, oh, it doesn't bother me that she was making a ton of money by talking dirty and licking her lips and walking around in pasties because she didn't sleep with all those guys. No, honey, no. If they don't like their girlfriends to have like half naked bikini pics and, butt photos and everything all over the Instagram, they're not going to like you running an OF with private conversations with all these guys with all the shaking it and doing all this and swimsuits and all. They're just, it's the same chip that's broken, that you are capitalizing off of your sexuality, that you have turned and weaponized your sexuality to make cash, and that you are a constant attention seeker at the most awful level. He's not going to give a lick about your cash either. If anything, he's going to find that to be a problem too, because then you're going to want him to make more money than you. You know how this works.